Good morning, esteemed members of the judiciary, honored delegates from the United Kingdom, learned members of the bar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Legal Symposium 2026, organized by the Overseas Relations Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. To inaugurate official proceedings this morning and to light the traditional oil lamp, may I call upon the following dignitaries. Our chief guest, the Honorable Justice Nalin Rohantha Abesurya, President's Counsel, President of the Court of Appeal of Sri Lanka. Honorable Justice Priyantha Fernando, Judge of the Court of Appeal. Ms. Kirsty Brimlow Casey, Chair of the Bar Council of England and Wales. President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya. Treasurer of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Pasindu Silva. Mr. Faiz Mustafa, President's Counsel. Chair of the Overseas Relations Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Krishmal Varnasurya. Natalie Darby, Head of Policy International at the Bar Council of England and Wales. Professor G.L. Piris, Distinguished Academic and former Minister of Justice of Sri Lanka. May I also respectfully call upon Justice Guru Singha, Senior Most Judge of the Court of Appeal of Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthems of the United Kingdom and Sri Lanka.
Lanka,
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Today is particularly significant as we have the privilege of welcoming Miss Kirsty Brimlow KC, Chair of the Bar Council of England and Wales, together with her distinguished delegation. Your presence here is a powerful testament to the enduring friendship and professional partnership between our two legal communities. Over the next 3 days, we will engage in thoughtful discussions on some of the most pressing and contemporary issues facing the legal profession, from environmental justice and corporate responsibility to artificial intelligence and data protection, ARD, child protection, FDIs, and the evolving responsibilities of lawyers in a rapidly changing global landscape. Now, to formally welcome you to this August Assembly, may I call upon the Chair of the Overseas Relations Committee, Mr. Krishmal Varnasurya.
My Lord, the President of the Court of Appeal, our Chief Guest this morning, Your Lordships, the Honorable Judges of the Court of Appeals, and other Honorable Judges of the High Courts and the Primary Courts. Our guests and counterparts from the Bar of England and Wales, Kirsty Brimlow, King's Counsel, and your delegation, Lee Karu, King's Counsel, President of the Association of Sri Lankan Lawyers in the UK, and Her Honour, Mrs. Usha Karu, Honourable former Minister of Justice, Professor G.L. Pires, officers of the Honourable Attorney General's Department, distinguished guests, invitees, members of the academia, from the universities, the Sri Lanka Law College, the President, Treasurer of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, my immediate bosses, as it were, when it comes to today's event. My learned friends, President's Counsel, Mr. Faiz Mustafa PC, if I may strike a personal note, my guru, mentor, and the first head of my chambers, and our guest of honor this evening, colleagues at the bar, students, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you as we start a unique, perhaps first of its kind, international legal symposium, bringing together our two jurisdictions, and may I just say that who are no strangers to each other, going back in history. We particularly extend a very warm welcome to our Paradise Island, to Kirsty and her delegation. And may I say that I hope when you leave our shores that you will also have experienced what a fellow compatriot, Sir Arthur C. Clarke, described in one word when he met our golden shores: serendipity. The occasion of discovering something wonderful quite by accident. And I hope you have the same experience when you leave us. We thank you for accepting our invitation, Kirsty, and all of you who are here, and for being with us. We are truly grateful. We also recognize His Lordship, the President of the Court of Appeal, who was very gracious to accept our invite, who some of us were fortunate to call a fellow member of the bar not that long ago, and who still continues to be that friend to us at the bar. We are honored, sir, that you took the time from what I know is a very busy schedule, if we did not notice it yesterday, to take the time to be with us and to hold your court whilst you did that. Now, I was not meant to be doing this job today. It was to be the duty of my dear departed co-chair of the Overseas Relations Committee, the late dear friend, Mr. Anu Pereira, who had initially proposed this idea to the Bar Association and liaised with our counterparts. We are very grateful, Anu, for all your hard work at the helm of the ORC, and you let me happily stay in England as the co-chair and not do anything. But unfortunately, you had to leave us, and since then, we have tried to do our best in your honor. We miss you dearly, and we have a dedicated session later this afternoon in Anu's memory for the work that he did before he departed from us. Anu, may your sweet soul rest in peace. Now, we look forward to 3 exciting days of interactive dialogue with practitioners from England and Wales who are both historically and professionally no strangers to our island nation. Though this is not the time for long speeches, it would be unfair for all who have worked very hard for last so many weeks and months if I don't speak a few words of this entire program. It is a unique, and I do believe a first-time attempt where we are hosting such a joint legal symposium between our two nations. The subject areas, which have been meticulously planned after careful thought, for example, our first session on ethics, when we know, sir, or we hear of a pre-white paper discussion at present on an attempt to regulate our profession. We will be discussing in our first session on ethics on how the bar in England have decided to regulate themselves, not someone from outside, but the bar regulating themselves with regard to ethics, transparency, openness with clients, all the more reasons to make justice accessible to the litigant. And it should, if I may say so, should not be cast upon a profession by anyone outside, government or otherwise, but it should be left to the profession to regulate ourselves, and that would be indeed an interesting discussion as we go on. This afternoon session, for example, on encouraging foreign direct investment and alternate dispute resolution as the methods of encouraging investment to cut down the often cited red tape that is seen as an obstacle to potential investment. Then we also have a session at some point tomorrow on deferred prosecutions and modern global trends on crime and punishment and deterrent. Once again, a very timely discussion for those of us in Sri Lanka who saw the unfortunate incidents of overcrowded prisons just a few weeks ago. So these topics and themes have been carefully planned, and I do hope that both the student and the practitioner alike will gain much from an interactive dialogue over the next 3 days. It's not just one side learning from the other, as Kirsty said a few minutes ago, but both sides, both jurisdictions learning from one another. Finally, as I said, it's not a time for long speeches because we're already a few minutes behind schedule. But I will be failing if I don't recognize in my duty our chief guest, His Lordship the President, all distinguished guests and invitees, all our speakers and resource persons from both our jurisdictions for so generously sharing your time and knowledge with us, the President, Secretary, and the Executive Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka for placing their faith in my committee and I, particularly after the demise of Anu. I hope, Rajiv and Pasindu and everyone else at the bar, that we will not let you down over the next 3 days. All of you who assisted us in numerous ways to get us here to where we are now, our sponsors in the media and others, I do apologize if I don't mention names individually because there is such a long list. But last and by no means least, may I recognize and take a minute all those hard-working members of the Overseas Relations Committee, particularly my very able 3 co-conveners. Without you, I will not be standing here this morning and over the next 3 days. Gentlemen and ladies, wherever you are, may I please ask you to rise so that we may all recognize your efforts. Please, my committee, ORC committee, can you please stand wherever you are? Thank you. Well done. So you've heard enough from me. It's time now to listen to the real experts. But before that, we have a few more formalities. May I invite Rajiv Amarasuriya, the president of the Bar Association, who's also a very hard-working member of our profession these days, Rajiv, to speak a few words. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. My Lord, the President of the Court of Appeal, His Lordship, Justice Rohantha Abe Surya, President's Counsel, Honorable Judges, Your Lordships of the Court of Appeal, Madam Kirsty Brimdo, King's Counsel, Chair of the Bar Council of England and Wales, distinguished members of the delegation from the Bar Council of England and Wales, President's Council, distinguished speakers, Treasurer of the Bar Association, Chairman of the Overseas Relations Committee of the Bar Association, Mr. Krishmal Varnasurya, conveners and members of the committee, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka to welcome all of you to this International Legal Symposium 2026. And as Krishmal mentioned, I think the first of this nature and kind to be conducted between our two bars. And Kirsty, may I extend a particularly warm welcome to you and your delegation. Thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us over this weekend. We are genuinely delighted that you have traveled to Sri Lanka to be with us. Your presence here is important to us, not simply because you represent one of the oldest and most respected bars in the world, but because the relationship between our two bars is one that has been built over many years across generations of lawyers and upon values which we continue to share. Before I say anything more, however, I want to begin on a personal note, as did Krishmal. I want to remember a dear friend and colleague of the bar, the late Anuruddha Pereira, or fondly referred to as Anu, as we all knew him. For many of us, Anu was much more than an accomplished lawyer. He had an extraordinary enthusiasm for this profession. He believed that being a lawyer meant that you never stopped learning. And he believed equally strongly that one of the responsibilities of the Bar Association was to create opportunities of its members, to expose them to new ideas, new jurisdictions, and some of the finest legal minds in the world. This symposium was very much Anu's vision. He believed that Sri Lankan lawyers would benefit enormously from closer engagement with our colleagues overseas, and particularly with the Bar of England and Wales, with whom we share such a long legal and professional history. But Anu did not want simply another conference. He wanted to build a stronger relationship. He wanted lawyers from our two jurisdictions to meet each other, learn from each other, and importantly, form friendships with each other. He wanted this to become a tradition. Anu worked tirelessly towards making that happen. Sadly, he did not live to see this day. And I know that there are many of us in this room who wish very much that he was sitting here with us this morning. But I think he would be immensely happy to see this room today. Judges, lawyers, and friends from Sri Lanka and United Kingdom gathered together in exactly the same spirit, the spirit of friendship, learning, and cooperation that he envisaged. So as we begin, ladies and gentlemen, these 3 days, let us remember Anu with affection and gratitude. And perhaps the best tribute we can pay to him is to ensure that what he began does not end today or this weekend, but grows from here. Ladies and gentlemen, what begins today may be a new symposium, but the relationship behind it is certainly not new. Indeed, it is a relationship intertwined with the history of our own legal profession. Some of our visitors had the opportunity this morning to visit the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. That visit is particularly significant because only a week ago, on the 31st of July, we commemorated the 225th anniversary of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. When that court first sat in 1801, it consisted of a Chief Justice and one puisne justice, and the bar consisted of precisely 2 Dutch advocates. We have grown a little since then, I would think, And of course, Sri Lanka's legal heritage reaches much further back, over 2 millennia, shaped by our own traditions and customs, by Buddhist and Hindu influences, and subsequently by the Roman Dutch law. But the legal tradition of England and Wales also played a defining role in shaping our modern legal institutions. The Charter of Justice of 1833 established a single Supreme Court for the island and gave that court the power to admit advocates and proctors. It is an important moment in the emergence of the modern legal profession in Sri Lanka. And over the nearly 2 centuries that followed, our two professions have continued to influence and learn from one another. But what connects us today is about much more than legal history. It is about shared values, a belief in the rule of law, a fiercely independent judiciary, a strong and independent legal profession, and the fundamental principle that no person and no institution is above the law. Those principles have survived because generations before us were prepared to defend them. And they will survive for generations after us only if we are prepared to do the very same. It is against that background that in 2022, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the Bar Council of England and Wales entered into a memorandum of understanding. That memorandum did not create our relationship. It recognized a relationship which already existed and gave it a modern framework. It provides for the exchange of legal and professional knowledge, opportunities for training and exchanges between lawyers, the sharing of information on developments in our respective jurisdictions, and greater collaboration between practitioners. It also looks to the future, to arbitration, to mediation, international dispute resolution, and to a legal profession that increasingly operates beyond borders. But there is another aspect of that understanding which, to my mind, is even more important. It is our shared commitment to supporting the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, and the independence of the legal profession. These, ladies and gentlemen, are not abstract ideals. They're the foundations upon which public confidence in the administration of justice ultimately rests. And there will inevitably be moments in every jurisdiction when those principles are tested. At such moments, independent bars have a responsibility to speak. Sometimes what we say may be popular, sometimes it may not. But an independent bar cannot measure its position by popularity or political convenience. It must measure it against principle. That is why relationships such as the one between our bars matter. Because when legal institutions across jurisdictions exchange ideas, experiences, and when necessary support, we remind ourselves that the rule of law is not a concern confined to national borders. And that brings me to this symposium. Over these 3 days, we will discuss issues that would have been almost unimaginable to lawyers practicing a generation ago. We will begin this morning with commercial arbitration and its role in attracting foreign direct investment. We will discuss international dispute resolution, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, digital evidence, professional ethics, and the changing nature of the legal practice. Technology is transforming our profession at an extraordinary speed. Commercial relationships cross borders instantly. Disputes that begin in one jurisdiction may involve parties, assets, evidence, and legal principles from several others. Artificial intelligence already changing how lawyers research, draft, advise, and even think about the delivery of legal services. These developments bring enormous opportunities, but they also bring difficult questions. Questions about ethics, questions about professional responsibility, and questions about confidentiality. And ultimately, questions about what it means to be a lawyer in the 21st century. Those are not questions that any one bar or indeed any one jurisdiction can answer alone. That is why the people gathered here in this room absolutely matter. Over the next 3 days, we have judges, King's Counsel, President's Counsel, practitioners, academics, and specialists from both our countries, exchanging experiences, and I hope also disagreeing occasionally with one another. Because good legal discussion should involve some disagreement as well. But ultimately, we are here to learn from one another. And in doing so, we should remember something fundamental. The law will change, technology will change, The way we practice will certainly change, but some things must not change. That is our duty to the court, our duty to our clients, our commitment to professional integrity, our defense of an independent judiciary, and our responsibility to uphold the rule of law. Those are the constants of our profession. Ladies and gentlemen, there may be two bars represented prominently in this room today, but we share one fundamental commitment: to justice, to professional excellence, and to the rule of law. And every conversation we have over these 3 days, every idea we exchange, and every friendship we form strengthens not only our individual professions, but the relationship between them. That ultimately is how a memorandum of understanding becomes meaningful. Not because two presidents or chairs signed a document, but because lawyers actually meet, because they exchange ideas, because they learn from one another, and because institutional relations become human relationships. Before I conclude, let me thank the Overseas Relations Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, chaired by Krismal Vannasuriya, and the conveners, Savitri Fernando, Charana Kankanamge, Imal Gunasekara, and Ruwen Veerasinghe, and the committee, our speakers, moderators, and everyone who has worked behind the scenes to bring us together. And to Kirsty and our friends from England and Wales, thank you once again very much for accepting our invitation and for making this journey to one would say, the most beautiful island in the world. We hope that your 3 days with us will be professionally rewarding, and I hope you will spend time to visit the rest of the country. We hope the discussions will be stimulating, but we also hope you will have, as I said, the opportunity to experience, visit, and see the several lovely landscapes, and of course the nature and the fauna of our country. Thank you to the participants. I know it is a working day, but all of you are here in numbers because these type of opportunities don't come all the time. And let me wish this symposium absolute success and the relationship between our two bars to go from strength to strength and to see this happening hopefully every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya. Please join me in welcoming to Sri Lanka and to the stage, Ms. Kirsty Brimlow Casey.
Well, thank you very much for the very warm welcome. And if I may welcome back the President of the Court of Appeal, distinguished judges, President of and colleagues from the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, and very importantly, the chair and co-chair of the Overseas Relations Committee, fellow members of the legal profession, all who have been involved in organizing this symposium, other honored guests, and everyone else I haven't named in the room. In memory also of Anu, who I was looking forward to meeting, and of course send our condolences from the Bar of England and Wales upon his untimely passing. He clearly left us all far too soon. It's a great privilege to be here today, to join you today. I actually was reminiscing that I was last in Sri Lanka in my mid-20s, quite a while ago, and it was a very different experience then, and I was very intrepid. I was backpacking around the country, and I've also over the years worked with Sri Lankan lawyers and worked on human rights cases, in particular in Sri Lanka, and I'm delighted to be back here. It's a privilege to be back here, no longer as a young barrister backpacker, but as chair of the Bar Council of England and Wales. As chair, I represent 18,000 barristers across England and Wales from all jurisdictions. I bring with me the warmest greetings from the barristers of England and Wales, and thanks for your generous and warm hospitality, which I have been very much enjoying, and I know the rest of the delegation also has been enjoying. Please do talk to us over the day, over the next days. We are here also to learn from you and to build our friendships with you. And in fact, the relationship between our bars is long-standing and it's deeply valued. It's built not simply on shared legal traditions, but on something much more enduring. It's a common belief that the rule of law, an independent judiciary, and a courageous independent legal profession are the foundations of a just and prosperous society. And those principles are universal. They transcend borders, politics, and cultures. They protect the powerful from arbitrary government, but perhaps most importantly, they protect the powerless from injustice. And these are often under threat. Across the world today, lawyers are facing new challenges. We are navigating rapid technological change, increasing pressures on the justice systems, threats to the independence of legal institutions, and growing barriers to access to justice. These are not challenges that are unique to any one jurisdiction. They are shared challenges that demand shared solutions. And that is why gatherings such as this are so important. They matter so much. They remind us that while our legal systems may differ in detail, we are united by common values and common responsibilities. We learn from one another's successes and one another's failures, although you don't hear many barristers talking about their failures. That is another point that we have in common. But we do exchange ideas, challenge assumptions, and strengthen the profession together. The Bar Council of England and Wales greatly values its international relationships. They enrich our profession. They strengthen legal services, and they reinforce our shared commitment to defending the rule of law whenever it comes under pressure. There perhaps has been never been actually a more important time for lawyers to engage internationally, because the law internationally crosses borders, and increasingly so. Commerce crosses borders. Technology crosses borders. Terrorism crosses borders. Crime crosses borders. Climate does not stop at borders. Human rights challenges cross borders. Our professional friendships and cooperation must do the same. Only then can we build remedies. As advocates, we understand that justice depends not only upon good laws, but upon skilled, independent lawyers who are willing to stand up for their clients, even when doing so is unpopular or difficult. And the independence of the legal profession is not only a privilege for lawyers, it's a protection for every citizen. When lawyers are free to represent citizens without fear or favor, everyone benefits. When courts are independent, societies are stronger. When the rule of law flourishes, investment grows, businesses prosper, and public confidence increases. These are values that are global values that are worth defending every single day. And this conference will provide an excellent opportunity to explore important issues, share expertise, and build lasting professional relationships. And I look forward to learning from those discussions over the coming days. A few points on what specifically can be done to strengthen our relationship between our bars. Let me touch on 3 areas. There's a focus on law and trade globally. Sri Lanka is a beneficiary of the UK's Developing Countries Trading Scheme and is included within the Enhanced Preferences tier. The scheme gives qualifying Sri Lankan goods reduced or zero tariff access to the UK market. Reforms were effective from the 1st of January of this year, which liberalised rules of origin and expanded ability of producers in countries such as Sri Lanka to use inputs sourced from other eligible countries. And more than 90% of Sri Lanka's product lines are reported to qualify for duty-free access under the scheme, and the UK is also one of Sri Lanka's most important export destinations, particularly for garments. I can tell you I'm the beneficiary of many of those. And although there's no comprehensive UK-Sri Lanka free trade agreement containing dedicated commitments on professional or legal services, the trade relationship obviously matters very much because stronger goods trade and investment generates ancillary demand for law, contract drafting, supply chain advice, sanctions, export control advice, customs origin disputes, trade finance, insurance, the list goes on. And also alongside, we have international arbitration. Protection of lawyers. The Council of Europe developed the Convention for the Protection of the Profession of the Lawyer, otherwise known as the Luxembourg Convention, that opened for signature in May 2025. It's the first legally binding international treaty devoted specifically to protecting the profession of the lawyer, and it can be signed and ratified by non-Europe member states. It requires 8 ratifications first, including 6 from the Council of Europe. But Sri Lanka should, and we invite, would be more than welcome to look at that convention. It's important for us all. I'm urging our UK government to ratify the convention, having been one of its first signatories. Environment. Whilst bushfires, wildfires, they have been called an apocalypse, but actually Paul Crutzen, the atmospheric chemist and Nobel Prize winner, had the scientific word for it. We are in a geological epoch called the Anthropocene, which is devastating across the world. And whatever areas of law we practice in, commercial, property, planning, insurance, crime, public law, climate-related risks are increasingly shaping the advice we give and the disputes that come before the courts. Lawyers need to join globally to upskill and become climate competent. Climate competence is rapidly becoming part of professional competence. We share a common language, we share common law, we share many common traditions. We share much love and respect for each other's countries. And generations of Sri Lankan lawyers have trained at the Inns of Court, and Sri Lankan judgments are cited in judgments in England and Wales, as judgments in England and Wales are cited in Sri Lankan courts. And so thank you, Sri Lanka, for that shared partnership. And thank you to the Bar Association of Sri Lanka for bringing us together yet again. Thank you for the work that you all do in this room in supporting the legal profession and promoting justice. And I wish you all a stimulating, productive, and enjoyable conference.
Thank you, Ms. Kirsty Brimlaw. We also look forward to you sharing more of your insights during the next 3 days. May I now respectfully call upon our chief guest, the Honorable Justice Nalin Rohanta Abe Surya, President's Counsel, President of the Court of Appeal of Sri Lanka.
Your Lordships, judges of the Court of Appeal, Miss Kirsty Brimlaw, King's Counsel and Chair of the Bar Council of England and Wales, President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, office bearers of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, the esteemed delegates of the Bar Council of UK and Wales who are visiting Sri Lanka with Mrs. Kirsty Brimlaw, Learned President's Council, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege to address this distinguished gathering at the International Legal Symposium organized by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. I'm grateful to the Bar Association of Sri Lanka for inviting me to participate as the chief guest. And I consider it an honor to join you on occasion that brings together two respected legal communities united by a shared commitment to justice, the rule of law, and the continued advancement of our institutions. At the outset, I extend on behalf of the Sri Lankan judiciary a warm welcome to Ms. Kirsty Brimlaw, King's Counsel, and all members of the delegation from the Bar Council of England and Wales. Your presence in Sri Lanka reflects a long-standing professional relationship founded upon mutual respect, shared legal values, and a common desire to strengthen cooperation between our respective bars. The legal system of Sri Lanka did not develop in isolation. For more than a century and a half, our courts function within a constitutional framework under which the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London served as the final court of appeal. Although that constitutional relationship has long since come to an end, the influence of British common law continues to be evident in many areas of our jurisprudence. Its principles are reflected in our law of contract, our law of evidence, administrative law, and the doctrines of natural justice that continue to guide judicial decision making. Even today, when our courts are called upon to resolve difficult questions of law, particularly in areas where established common law principles are engaged, judgments from England and Wales frequently provide valuable guidance. That is not merely because of history. It reflects the continuing strength of a legal tradition that has over many generations contributed significantly to the development of jurisprudence throughout the common law world. At the same time, Sri Lanka has not simply adopted those principles unchanged. Our courts have interpreted and applied them within the context of our own constitution, our legislation, and the particular social and economic circumstances of our country. In doing so, we have developed a body of jurisprudence that remains faithful to fundamental legal principles while responding to the needs of our own society. The relationship between our two legal systems, therefore, extends beyond historical associations. It is an ongoing professional relationship founded upon dialogue, comparative learning, and a shared commitment to the proper administration of justice. That relationship also exists within a wider framework that is reflected in today's gathering. Commonwealth of Nations, of which Sri Lanka is a member, is a voluntary association of 56 member states committed to democracy, good governance, sustainable development, and the rule of law. For common law jurisdictions, the Commonwealth has long provided an important forum through which judges, lawyers, academics, and legal institutions exchange ideas, share experiences, and contribute to the continuing development of legal principles. Sri Lanka occupies a unique position within this framework. We are a common law jurisdiction within the Commonwealth. The coming together today of the Bar Council of England and Wales and the Bar Association of Sri Lanka is therefore not simply the meeting of two professional bodies. It reflects the wider objective of strengthening cooperation between legal institutions that share common values, notwithstanding differences in geography, history, and legal development. The importance of a symposium such as this extends well beyond the discussions that take place over the course of these sessions. The law has always progressed through the exchange of ideas. Courts learn from comparative jurisdiction. Advocates refine their skills through exposure to different approaches. Legal institutions become stronger when they are prepared to examine their own practices in the light of experience of others. That process is particularly important today. The challenges confronting legal systems increasingly extend beyond national borders. International commerce, technological innovation, cybercrime, environmental protection, cross-border financial transactions, and the movement of people and evidence require legal systems to cooperate more closely than ever before. No jurisdiction possesses all the answers. Equally, every jurisdiction has experiences from which others may learn. Professional engagement of this nature enables us to consider how similar legal principles have been applied in different contexts and to identify approaches that may assist in addressing common challenges. For Sri Lanka, such engagement is of considerable practical value. Opportunities for continuing legal education, professional exchanges, collaborative research, and the sharing of expertise in judicial administration and case management contribute directly to the strengthening of our legal institutions. These are benefits that extend well beyond the duration of this symposium. It is equally important, however, to recognize that this relationship is one of mutual benefit. The Bar of England and Wales bring with it distinguished tradition of advocacy developed over many centuries. Its contribution to the common law has influenced courts throughout the world. and continue to shape legal thinking across numerous jurisdictions. Sri Lanka, on its part, offers the experience of a legal system that has applied those same principles within a distinct constitutional framework and in response to different social, cultural, and economic realities. Our jurisprudence reflect the manner in which established legal doctrines may be adopted to meet the needs of a developing democracy while remaining faithful to the rule of law. It is through the exchange of these differing experiences that comparative legal scholarship is enriched and professional understanding deepened. Such engagement strengthens both institutions and ultimately contribute to the more effective administration of justice. None of this occurs without sustained institutional commitment. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has over many years played an important role in promoting professional standards, supporting legal education, and fostering engagement with the wider legal community. In particular, the work undertaken by its Overseas Relations Committee deserves recognition. What may once have begun as an effort to maintain contacts with Sri Lankan lawyers practicing abroad has developed into an important bridge between our legal profession and the broader common law world. Through its initiatives, opportunities have been created for dialogue, collaboration, and professional exchange with leading legal institutions. Events such as today's symposium are the product of careful planning, sustained communication, and a clear understanding of the value of long-term institutional relationship. They do not come by chance. I therefore wish to acknowledge the efforts of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and in particular Mr. Krishmal Varnasurya, the chairman of the Overseas Relations Committee, together with every member of the committee whose dedication has made this symposium possible. Their work reflects a genuine commitment to strengthening the legal profession through meaningful international engagement. I also wish to acknowledge the distinguished delegation that has traveled from England and Wales to participate at this symposium. We are honored to welcome Mrs. Kirsty Brimlaw, KC, whose distinguished career spans more than 3 decades of practice before the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, and the European Court of Human Rights. Her professional experience extends beyond domestic litigation to international peace-building initiatives, including work connected with the Colombian peace process. Her appointment as chair of the Bar Council of England and Wales reflect a career marked by exceptional professional achievement and dedicated service to the legal profession. For many of our younger lawyers, the opportunity to interact directly with advocates of such distinction will undoubtedly be among the most valuable aspects of this symposium. Exposure to accomplished practitioners broadens professional perspective, encourages intellectual curiosity, and reminds us that excellence in advocacy is achieved through lifelong learning, preparation, and above all, integrity. On behalf of the Sri Lankan judiciary, I extend my sincere appreciation to the Bar Council of England and Wales, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, the Overseas Committee, and every individual who has contributed to the success of this event. I wish this international legal symposium every success and trust that the partnership it represents will continue to flourish for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship. We are sincerely grateful for your insights and your invaluable contribution and encouragement on behalf of the Overseas Relations Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. To conclude formalities and to deliver the vote of thanks, may I call upon Mr. Pasindu Silva, Treasurer of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka.
His Lordship, Justice Rohan Surya, President's Council, President of the Court of Appeal, and the other judges of the Court of Appeal, Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Ms. Kirsty Brimlaw, KC, Chair for the Bar Council of England and Wales, and her esteemed delegation who have arrived in Sri Lanka, Mr. Faiz Mustafa, President's Council, who is also a member of the Executive Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Sarath Jayaman, President's Council, Mr. and all other President's Council who are present here, including Mr. Andrew Maddagoda, former President of the BSL, and the other executive members of the BSL, and Mr. Krishmal Varnasuriya, the Chairman of the Overseas Relations Committee, and the other members of the Overseas Relations Committee of the BSL, and other distinguished guests, and all those who are present here today. It is with great pleasure that I deliver this vote of thanks on behalf of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka at this very important international symposium, which is organized by the Overseas Relations Committee of the BSL. And I will take this moment to express my tribute to Mr. Andrew Pereira, who is no longer with us and who led this Overseas Relations Committee with tremendous dedication and service. It was his dream to have this event organized, which has now come into light with a lot of effort that has been extended by its present chairman, Mr. Krishmal Varnasuriya, and his highly dedicated members of the ORC. I'm personally aware that a lot of time and effort have been contributed by them to make this event a success. A lot of late nights, discussions, and plannings have taken place with the leadership of Mr. Krishmal Varnasuriya. And also, I would like to thank his team members, Mr. Charna Kananka Gamage, Mr. Emal Gunasekara, Mr. Ruveen Veerasinghe, Ms. Savitri Fernando, the co-conveners of the ORC committee, and also Indika Jagadish, Rizat, Merisha, Sonali, Zul, Marilyn, Madara, and Nafa. You have put a lot of effort and energy, and it was really a highly pressurized event because its previous chairperson is no longer with us, and also due to various time constraints. So thank you very much for all your efforts that you all have put in to make this event a success. And also I would like to thank the sponsors of this event, which is main sponsor Demo, gold sponsor Slit, and the media sponsors Gold FM, Daily FT, Daily Mirror, Financial Times, Hero, and High Magazine. And also I would like to thank the members of the BSL staff who had assisted with the organizing of this event. And also, once again, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Kirsty Brimlaw, KC, and the delegation who have arrived in Sri Lanka to make this event a success, and also to share their experience and other expertise with regard to many areas of importance. And also, I would like to thank all the resource persons who will be sharing their views and experience and expertise within the next 3 days of the symposium. Also, last but not the least, all those who have participated at this event, without whom this event would not be a success. So I hope on behalf of the BSL, the next 3 days will be very fruitful days and a lot of experience and expertise will be shared together with lot of memories to be cherished. And I once again extend my gratitude to to the delegation who have arrived from UK. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, now that formalities have been concluded, without any further ado, let's begin with our first session. It's on professional ethics, rules that apply to the bar. I'd like to respectfully call upon these esteemed panelists to join me on stage. Mr. Faiz Mustafa, President's Counsel, Ms. Kirsty Brimlow, King's Counsel, and Ms. Natalie Darby.